the third trend in terms of the Tucker Center research report, the good news, girls, more girls ever before. The not so good news, girls become less physically active as they get older, but the third trend, and this might not come as a surprise, is that there's a huge gap. Not this gap. You might know that gap, but the gap is that it doesn't matter what physical activity or sport we're talking about, boys outnumber girls. And this is some data I just pulled out yesterday from the National Federation of High School Leagues. There's about 4.4 million boys to 3.1 million girls participating in sport. And that gap is primarily due to boys' participation in football. We could talk a lot about football, but we won't. Not today. All right, so there's a gap. So we want to try to close that gap, because the more opportunities we have for girls, the more they reap developmental and health benefits that we know can occur. Not that they always occur, but that they have the opportunity to occur when they participate. So I get the question a lot, well, why is there such a gap? Well, there's a wide variety of barriers for girls in sport, and I could spend a whole hour just on this slide, but it's complicated. Some girls don't like sports. They don't have community opportunities. There's much more community programming for boys than girls. Some families don't value sport participation, especially if the girl is required or expected to perform household duties or sibling care. Or there's a lot of gender stereotypes, unfortunately, that still persist today, that put what it means to be an athletic girl and what it means to be feminine at oppositions to one another. So gender stereotypes about being an athlete for girls sometimes prevents girls from being in sport, or they drop out when they get to adolescence. Because we know when girls hit adolescence, about 70% of girls drop out of organized sport. 70%. So if we want girls to accrue those benefits, we need to figure out how to keep them in sport, which goes back to my parent education. I believe that we can create a much more positive climate in youth sport that might make sport more fun and enjoyable for all kids, not just girls.